Okay. Hello, everyone. So we are back with the midnight session with one of the amazing speaker in the pre-conference. So I'm sure a lot of you want to go into FANG companies. By FANG, which I mean Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, and it has been dream of millions of people. You know, FANG is one of the dream companies for millions of people to get into the top-notch, leagues. Okay, and I believe there are millions of applications all over the world that goes to the FANG companies. Okay, at the same time, it has been kind of a black box for a lot of people how to break into FANG companies. The competition is severe. You're competing with probably one of the brightest minds in the world. Okay, at the same time, you want to understand how the mechanics work. Okay, there are multiple routes that people could have gone to, one of these companies. Today, we have a very special speaker who is coming from a FANG company, who has, gotten into it, and more importantly, he's also the green card holder in US, which is right now kind of a dream come true for millions of other international people. Okay, so without further ado, let me first introduce you about Foreign Admits. So Foreign Admits is an international study abroad mentorship platform where we connect you with some amazing uber cool mentors from top universities and the companies. So they can help you personally on your applications to university selections or on your career guidance. At the same time, we also connect you with the universities for one-to-one mentorship. So today, it's just first day of our pre-conference. We got a very, very special speaker lined up and already they're going to be there in the next 30 seconds. So I'm just going to play you a very important scholarship that we are launching in this particular event. Okay. So yes, that was Dream Big Scholarship for all of you. We are offering up to $1 million of scholarship for hundreds of students who are aiming to get into US, Canada, UK, and Australia, and many other countries in this world. So do not miss. Go to foreignadmins.com or Google Dream Big Scholarship. You'll get to know more about it. And if you need more assistance, you can go to foreignadmins.com. But yes, let's get started with one of those amazing speakers that we have on the line. Okay. So here we have Rahul. Rahul is currently working in Amazon. He's there in US. I think he's there in the West Coast.
Yeah, that's correct, Nikhil.
Yeah, perfect. So I hope you guys have all the questions. So do put them in the chat section. We're gonna take the questions probably in the middle or the end of the sessions. And let's begin, Rahul. So Rahul, could you tell the audience, a little bit about your background in India? How
Sure.
did you start? What you did, and then how the transition to US happened?
Absolutely. The first of all, thank you so much for introduction, Nikhil. To give you guys a little bit more about myself, as Nikhil mentioned, I did arrive in US to do my graduate studies back in 2013, 14. I got my master's degree from Rochester Institute of Technology in telecommunication engineering. After a couple of years, I actually ended up doing one more master's. Uh, but I basically came here as a fresher. I did not have much experience in India. So the one thing that I would like to mention here is, I mean, I'm sure most of you would have already made your mind to come to US, right? And there is very obvious reason for it. It's just abundance of plenty of resources, right? If you just look at the sheer size of United States, it's huge, and almost in entire US you have plenty of opportunities. It's the open market. There are a lot of natural resources. So that is the obvious reason. If you come to United States, or if you, or rather, let me say, if you are in job market for United States, the probability that you will land up a dream job is obviously much more higher than anywhere in the world. Regarding your dream company, or the company that you want to target to, why it becomes a little bit more easier in US? Again, the answer is very straightforward, because those companies actively go to the United States universities, right? I'm sure in India also nowadays, Google and your IBMs and your HPs, they do come to the campus. How many universities in India, or how many universities say in Nigeria, do those companies goes to? 9 or 10. It's not very uncommon to see in United States. You will see these companies coming into campus for lot many colleges, universities. So that does definitely gives you a little bit more edge above all the applicants. Having said that, it is also very important to be laser focused on your program itself. So it's not only about company, right? It's more depends on what you want to do there. If you want to say work as an AI engineer or a network engineer, then you have to build profile up to it. Uh, and then sooner or later, if you do proper research for that particular company, say for example Netflix, it will for surely come to your university, and you should be able to clear their rounds after that. We can talk a little bit more about how to build profile and some tips about it. But before that, if you all have any questions, let me know.
Sure. One question which I would have from predominantly from the audience side of you, usually people are on the mindset, getting into the FANG or getting into the top universities is just like an elitist play. So people only from IITs and other top-notch institutions have a chance. Oh, what's your take on it? What's your experience around
Right.
it?
Not at all. I completely disagree on that part. If the talent persuades everywhere, in the fan companies especially, if you have the quality profile, it will always be looked in a higher light than just the quantity. I myself and many of my colleagues, we are from Mumbai University or Delhi University. Even in United States, also, I have a lot of colleagues who, if you just search for the top ranking of the universities, they wouldn't appear anywhere. So yeah, I wouldn't bother about that. The what more important is what you have done in those universities. You can be in a university which doesn't appear anywhere in ranking, but does actually provide a quality education, which, as you know, here in foreign admits we are very much concerned about. Then that does your job. So many of my, not many of my, but couple of colleagues that I know, they actually got their masters or their bachelors done from the universities which are extremely inexpensive, and yet they are working exactly where I am with the similar position.
Interesting. So let's focus a little bit, into your education journey. Which college you were from? What was the stream that you took?
Mhm.
How was the graduation? What kind of GREs that you had? I know it's a little bit past,
Mhm.
but it would be able, audience can relate to it potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. So when I appeared for JRE back in 2013, it was still 1600 amount, and my score was 1270. I actually decided to reappear for JRE, which wasn't, I wouldn't say which was really necessary, but I gave it another shot and I ended up getting 1310. Uh, so I always wanted to pursue my career in network engineering. So I was looking for streams that are either network engineering related or telecommunication engineering related. And I decided to go to Rochester Institute of Technology in upstate New York. I was accepted in their both networking and telecommunication program. I chose to go with telecom at the time, just to keep my options open. Upon getting graduated from RIT, I was hired on campus by a company called CenturyLink, which is the internet service provider. From there, I switched another job to a company called Calix, which is similar to what Cisco does, as I'm sure most of you must be aware what Cisco is. And since last 2 years, I'm with Amazon.
Interesting. So tell us a little bit about your, experience at Rochester.
Mhm.
What made you choose Rochester at that point of time, and what's your, most picky or good experiences in those 1 or 2 years with Rochester?
Absolutely. So the way I had the focal points to why to go to this university were quite simple. Uh, if if you know what CPT and OPT is, basically those are the programs that are that lets you work in United States without having to apply for visa after your graduation. So first and foremost, always keep into consideration what sort of CPT curriculum practical training and OPT optional practical training that university is offering. I found RIT to be quite aggressive in those programs, which impressed me. They did provide almost 1 year of CPT and 2 years of OPT, and after that STEM. On After that, the financial aspects also matter, right? So I mean, I could get admission from say Dukes, but was way too costly for me at the time. Uh, and Lastly, you have also look at the what they're actually offering nowadays. The All the information about the syllabus or curriculum is very readily available on universities uh, website. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing to look at actually. Make sure just because the program's name is computer science, it doesn't mean it's going to offer you exactly what you want, right? I would try to refrain from the programs that focus a lot on theoretical and you don't get to see a lot of labs and practicals. They usually don't provide you the skill oriented acumens that are needed in when you work in industry. So that's what I was trying to search for programs which will give me opportunity to work a lot in lab, which is something I found in RIT at the time.
Interesting. So, one comparison and something which I see with a lot of students, they are a little bit more hyper focused on these university rankings, which are commercially available. What was your take when you were choosing? There might be options like Stanford and all, where
Right.
people always dream about. So what made you choose RIT on those parameters?
Right, absolutely. I honestly think on personal level, it's a little bit of farce. If you just see the university top rankings, there are a lot of issues in how is the university getting funding. There are a lot more political reasons also. More than university ranking, you should search for the program that you're applying to that university to. To give you guys a very small example, the University of South Dakota at Madison. It's a very small regional university. It's in the part of US, which is not very popular among international students. If you search the ranking for that university, it wouldn't. I don't think it appears in. I think first 200. But
Yeah.
so a lot of people who have graduated from that university with tremendous amount of scholarships and got their degrees in computer science and telecom, and they have landed up very good jobs in Cisco, Juniper, Amazon, Netflix. So just
Interesting.
definitely don't look at the. I mean, I wouldn't say don't look at the ranking of university, but please don't make your decision based solely on that factor.
Absolutely. I think that's a very important, thought to have. So let's come to more about the courses and your journey as an international student. Getting your first job is something is really crucial, right?
Right.
So how did you made it, and what was your preparation plans and that stage, and then how did you improve from there?
Sure. Yeah, that's actually a very good point, Nikhil. So for any international student, landing a job even matters even more than anyone who's born here, right? Because it is the first step in our career to sort of. I would strongly recommend before you graduate, at least 3 to 6 months, start looking into the jobs actively. You can definitely leverage LinkedIn, starts connecting with recruiters, try to build relationship with them. You gotta have soft skills. I mean, there is absolutely no option to that. You need to know how to talk to people, how to build yourself up. Secondly, do keep close eye on your universities, the campus recruitment. Most universities will publish name of the companies along with which position they are trying to hire. And in the big company, not even big company nowadays, a lot of other companies also do that. They specifically make positions for new grads. Do keep eye on those positions. If say, for example, if you come to US in fall 2021, I would say within 7 to 8 months, start looking for these new grad positions. Start contacting the recruiters and tell them that hey, you might be graduating soon and you are interested in that. If not the job directly, definitely do keep an eye on internships. I personally did not get a chance to do internship. I did land up a full-time job. However, getting an internship and then converting into a full-time position in that company is actually what I felt was more viable option at the time, which many of my friends ended up doing. The information about internship should be available on all the university's websites, on LinkedIn and other job portals that you might be using too. At the same time, you also got to start working on your resume a little bit at the time. If you are, as Nikhil mentioned, the competition is going to be a little bit fierce, right? Even though you are in your university. So just specifying your projects and what you did in your courses on the resume, that's not going to cut it. You got to be a little bit more elaborative, a little bit more imaginative. So do work on your resume at least 3 to 6 months before you start applying. Start posting your applications on their job portals, or you can send resume directly to the recruiters. At the same time, also keep in contact with your senior from the universities. In most cases, they will be able to refer you. After I got my first job, I ended up actually referring three more people from my university. Uh, so you
Interesting.
have to be active. Yep.
Yeah, I think these are the few starting pointers which many of the students usually ignore. Getting your resume right, getting your soft
Mhm.
skills right, building those rapport with the recruiters upfront so that when you need them, they might be there. So I
Right.
think these are the essential points. So let's understand about your transition because I
Mhm.
believe you worked for a few years before getting into Amazon. Okay,
Yep.
how was the process of getting into Amazon?
Mhm.
Was for you because again you were transitioning,
Right.
from one entirely different domain segment to
Mhm.
some substantially different domain segment.
Right. Yeah, so I always wanted to work for Amazon. I do have my cousins, my friends who work for it. I was impressed by Amazon's work culture. If you did a little Google research, you would definitely understand Amazon has very peculiar work culture and the type of work they choose to do. It's very innovative, very fast paced. That's something I always wanted to work. I would say almost 6 months before I decided I wanted to apply to the position. I started doing my research. I use a lot of third-party tools, also Glassdoor, where people post their interview questions or the things that they thought were important. And I jotted down all of that and made sure I was ready for my first round. Um, After I applied for it, I got through the rounds. Now, when I was already working with my the previous company, I tried to use data from that to build my profile. So you look at the position that you are gonna apply to. You see what are they looking for. So like no matter how brilliant of a Java programmer you are, right? But the requirement is that you got to code in say Python or some other coding language. Then it wouldn't matter that much. So you have to start working on it a little bit. That's what I did. I understood what where they're looking for, and I tried to reflect in my profile in those months. As an international student, the one thing that we always have to be a little careful about or will vary about is visa and status, right? So I think it's too soon for you guys to think about it, but just to give you guys a little uh, roundabout on how that works. So when you graduate, you transition from student visa to work visa. Not when you graduate, but when you run out of your OPT essentially. And once you are on your work visa and you decide to change the job, that visa also has to be transferred to the company. On that is something you are very fortunate when you are in student visa, you don't need to do. So if you are on student visa and you say land up job in Amazon and you are on OPT, and if you are changing from another company, you don't have to go through that hassle, fortunately. But that is something I had to do because I was already on the work visa at the time. So that process did take a little bit time, but uh, uh, like because the company was Amazon and they did take care of all the documentation, it became relatively swift. And that's where kind of what I mentioned about CPT and OPT that comes into picture. Your program that is something in the hands of your university. So if you are doing your masters and you land up a say internship in Dell, your university will have to provide you that CPT 1 year period that I mentioned. Once you have that 1 year period, then you can accept the internship with Dell and start working on it, working with them.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yep.
So I think this makes sense of having a prior preparation is really important, and as you rightly mentioned, it is really good by Amazon that they did take care of that process because I also know that this is going to be hassle, a lot of hassle when you're changing from work visa. So I believe it's still too early for a lot of students because they are
Mhm.
still going for their masters. So as in this COVID times, how do you see the transitions happening? Definitely, a lot of people are worried about the job losses that the world is facing.
Mhm.
But where do you see as opportunities are still there,
Mm.
or there is still more scope of jobs or opportunities for the students?
Right. So I actually have done a little bit analysis on this. Rather the type of work I am doing, I kind of have to look at those numbers a lot. The one thing that I will mention is in the US itself, if you just look at the sheer number, the impact is not that wide as of now. Like after this thing started, like back 4 to 5 months back, we all started realizing that we were in it, right? Uh, I mean, obviously, there's going to be some impact. You will hear about a little bit of layoffs, a little bit of restructuring. But as much I have seen, IT industry has been able to hold their own quite well, along with other. I'm still seeing lot many job openings. As this COVID, they it kind of closed lot many door. It also opened lot many others. So, for example, say if your startup company deals with office space, right? They provide office space. Then COVID did mar your company's business, obviously, because nobody is working on the physical space at the time. But at the same time, if there is another company who is selling a virtual software, they saw boom in their business. Like if you guys take a look at the numbers, the companies like Zoom or even Cisco WebEx, they have been hiring quite aggressively. They have hired a lot. Only from engineering perspective, I don't see this impact is anywhere close to what we have seen some in the past. If for those of you who have heard about 2008 recession or the one even before that 1990s IT boom bust, those were actually a lot more disastrous than what we are seeing right now. So at this time, it actually becomes very more important for you guys to carefully select the university. And within couple of years, once you are in the position we are looking for the job, I think we'll be all right.
Interesting. Interesting. So, so I think now we come to mostly at the end of the session about this. So, any preparation tips or suggestions or time frame that they should look at for probably preparing for the job? We'll
Mhm.
definitely talk a little bit more about what is the right time frame to apply for a fall cycle,
Hmm.
and what is the right time frame to look for the job, and what are the parameters that you should look at when you're preparing yourself for the job.
Yeah, absolutely. So the three key things that I would mention is your resume prep. That's something you have to look at. You have to work on your soft skills. In the interview, you gotta know how to talk to people. If you do think that you can work on your communication, do that. And third, but not lastly, the actual your work area, right? Try to find if there are any certifications, any skill-based training you can do even before graduating, and definitely try to do that. And I would strongly recommend that's where we can help you a lot too. The one advantage of getting mentored is you will get that advice or that with those direct data point from someone like me who has actually gone through everything that you are about to step into, and that wasn't too long ago. It was merely 4 or 5 years ago. So being specific would help a lot. So for I personally work in telecom networking industry. Foreign admits have other mentors who work on all sorts of industries, right?
Yeah,
They can tell you exactly what you need to do or more than need to do, what will benefit you a lot. So I would highly recommend staying in touch with them.
absolutely. I think early career stages, a good piece of advice or a right mentorship
Mhm.
could work wonders, and something which also have worked for me. So
Yeah,
yeah, I can definitely vouch on that. So let's take up certain questions. So we have certain question from Mayur. I'm gonna stream it on your screen.
sure.
So does applying from company career websites by submitting the resume, is there any chance to get a call for the interview, or is it just like
Yeah, it is. Very legit question. And the most probably you are asking this because either you have heard from a lot of people that they have been applying a lot, but they haven't gotten call. So it's not invalid at all. If you apply to their company's website and they do like your profile, they will give you a call. I mean, after all, it's a business, right? They do want talented people working from them. If you think that you have been doing that but you haven't gotten any success, try to look if there is recruiter info. If they have posted recruiters email and call, and do get in contact with them. That will help you at least put your profile in front of 10 others.
interesting? So the next question by Sor is, how should we apply for these companies? Which characteristics do we need to highlight?
Good question. So for me, the characteristic was two: the type of job that I wanted to do and what prospects it hold for me. So if you are looking for say software engineering jobs, then look for those positions in those companies. And if you know you are a fresh grad, don't go on applying for senior developer or software developer engineer 2 or 3, right? So at that time, keep your search to either entry level or a little bit more than that level of position, so you will have better chances of getting call back. And lastly, you also need to look at what are the future prospects for it. So like the salary, benefits, and other stuff. So those are two things I would look at.
Interesting. So this one question I believe a lot of students do have, because this is a second part of the question. The first part of the question is, since FANG companies go majorly to the tier one institutes for campus hiring, how can students like us from tier three colleges can get a chance?
Sure. So first thing I will say, it doesn't matter your college is tier three or not. What it matters is what you are, right? What your profile is. You can be from tier three, tier four college, but your profile is tier one, tier two. That's all it matters. And you don't have to land a job in FANG companies right off the college. You can keep on building your profile by working in other companies, work there for like couple of years, and then apply to these companies. So if say your job, your dream is to work for Google as software engineer, which is perfectly good ambition. You don't get selected in Google or you don't get called back from Google right after college. Work with other companies like Dell or Viasat. There are like the one thing in abundant US has is number of companies. Work with them and then keep applying to that company going forward.
Absolutely. I think one very interesting point that you mentioned, I might like to rephrase it. It's not always necessary that you have to land up with one of the FANG companies the moment you graduate. As you can see with the speaker's profile, he has been to a couple of companies. He has a transition journey, and you can always land up in one of those dream companies. It's just a matter of time whether you are ready or the company feels you are ready or not. So you got to definitely work on your profile, and it's absolutely be very open that you're fresher, so you might have to build your profile, right? So be okay with that, spend some time, build your profile, and definitely you will get it. So there's one interesting question that has come up: how much difference does social work or volunteership makes in an interview or in a resume?
It does make a difference. That shows that would show that you have a knack for working with in the team environment, other people, and that is something you can definitely bring it up when you are talking to a recruiter. Or I would highly recommend putting it on your resume. You don't have to be much elaborate about it. Like you don't have to list them all the days you have done volunteering or not. Just a brief description of what you have done and why were you influenced to do that. I think it will definitely give you a edge over another applicants.
Interesting. So I think I have one last question, probably from the students' fraternity, is how do you approach people when you are looking for that first job? How do you communicate? Because you definitely stressed upon soft skills, and I can definitely talk about it any day. But that's something is I haven't done that. You have actually done it. So how was your approach? How did you speak to the people? What kind of conversations were in the start, so that they get to understand what not to do, at least.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I would mention here is whenever you approach someone for the job profile or asking them to refer you, don't go with a mindset that they are doing you a favor. It's gonna, as much it's gonna help you, as much gonna help them too. For example, if you are approaching a recruiter, it is their job. Let's be very crystal clear that they want you to get hired. If you are asking a senior or anyone else to guide you, first of all, if they can refer you in their company, they would get mighty bonus for it. I can almost guarantee for that. So keep that in mind and keep your I would say the first message is very important. I lot of times, even in my company on LinkedIn, I get messages with only single word hi, hello. That's fine, but if your first message elaborates exactly what you're looking of that uh, person, that helps a lot. If you are approaching a recruiter, you can make, hey, my name is this and this, I'm a recent grad from this university, I wanted to touch base upon you to discuss few the interview options you might have. This is my resume, please let me know if you have some time to discuss. Similarly, if you are approaching to someone else, give your brief introduction and tell them exactly what you are looking for.
Interesting. And I think one of the things that I might want to add is when to connect to them. Don't connect to them just when you're looking for the job.
Hmm.
It might seem them you are more like you're just finding the right opportunities then.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think you I think you mentioned about that you got to build some rapport with the people
Yeah.
around. Okay.
Yep. You have to build the relationship. I 100% agree with that, Nikhil. You have to touch base with them like few months before. It will, yeah, as you said, it wouldn't look good if you connect with them today and today evening you're asking them to refer. So,
Absolutely. I usually give them the example like you're walking on the street and some stranger walks up to you and asks for something.
yeah.
You would never give them. So it genuinely feels the same way on LinkedIn also or any other social media
Yep.
platform that you're connecting to. So yeah,
Agree.
interesting question. And I think this is a little bit related to what we're discussing here. Someone started as a tester in a big MNC. I'm not sure what exactly tester, but you might be
Mhm.
aware of it.
Right.
And then want to change the role and become a developer. How do you think these transitions happen?
Right. Yeah. I think the Bibid they're probably talking about QA tester like Java testing, Selenium, and stuff. Uh, so you mentioned big MNC. So the if it's a big MNC, then they would have plenty of developer roles. So that is something I have done. I was when I started the job, I was actually a tester, not in the software domain, but in network domain. And my second job, I started applying for engineering or operations role. So the first thing I would mention you is if you are already working, talk to your manager. Every manager in US, they want, I mean, it's in their benefits if they look at their employees' well-being. Talk to them very straightforwardly that hey, you are looking for more challenging roles or developer roles. Is there anything in our team? The first obvious choice would be to look for if there are any positions open in the team itself or in your office itself, right? And if not, then you can actually look on that company's site also if the other offices are offering it. So do try there first. And then once if you make up your mind or you come to the conclusion that this company doesn't have anything to offer you, then you can start applying for other roles. But keep in mind if you are going from the role of tester to developer, you are well aware that what are the things they are going to be looking at, right? So you might have to take an entry level developer role at the time. Be ready for that, and there is nothing wrong in it. Whatever takes you to build your profile, you should do it.
Interesting. So I think transitioning should start from your internal team. I think
Yeah.
that makes more sense because you're already connected to those people. Interesting. So I think with this we come to almost like an end of the session. It was a very quick, short session, and thanks Raul for coming and making a time at this odd hours.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
thanks to the audience, you guys are making the midnight. It's almost like close to midnight. So yeah, amazing audience, and thanks Raul for taking our time. So just on a closing note, 19th and 20th, we are organizing India's first and probably the largest study abroad mentorship conference. Unlike any other university fairs, we chose to go ahead with more kinds of these sessions on mentorship, where you get to understand more insiders insights, more students perspectives, about your career journeys or about your dream universities. So don't miss out 19th and 20th. It's a 2 day full packed sessions. Tomorrow also there are going to be more pre-conference sessions just like this. And yeah, so just go to our YouTube channel. If you are not, just subscribe to it and you would get updates. You can probably follow Rahul on LinkedIn. So I'm sure your name goes with Rahul Gangl
That's
Gangal,
correct.
right?
Yes. Yes.
You
That
can
is correct.
find him on LinkedIn, and you can find us on LinkedIn. If need any more mentorship sessions from Rahul, we can probably arrange certain things very near future and very soon. Just write to us or comment on this video that you need more mentorship sessions, and we'll probably try to arrange a couple of more sessions with him. With this, I think we come to the end of the session. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, everyone, for joining in at this hour, and have a happy day.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
So yes, we are coming to the end of the session, and I'm just going to show you some exciting things that we're doing at Foreign Admits, and with that, we will close the session. Okay, guys. So yeah, good night. Have a great night, I would say. And yeah, let's see you tomorrow. Don't miss out. Tomorrow we are again going Facebook Live and YouTube Live in the pre-conference. And if you are not registered for the mentorship conference, go to foreignadmins.com. There's a mentor conference. Just go there, register. And if you're looking for study abroad scholarship, we have the largest private study abroad scholarship launched this cycle for fall 2021, spring 2022, and spring 2021. Okay, so you guys would be eligible for the scholarship, and every student going through us would get a scholarship. Minimum of $500, maximum of, I don't know how much can you grab. How much is your profile strong enough? So yes, definitely, I'm going to share for the last time about the Dream Big scholarship. Just have a look. Okay, guys, good night. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.